how does it break down on a weekly basis? So if I look at my working week, a lot of people kind of think like, how should my week break down? Like, I know I want to do a lot of stuff. I know what interests me. I know how I want to feel, but I don't know how to like break it down. I don't know how to break down my week. So if we take it down through a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of concept, let me start with Monday. On this program specifically, Monday, we'll be working on strength and explosive power. So it may be, in fact, on this program, it is a lower body strength day on a Monday. So I'm going to be working my bigger compound heavy lifts on a Monday. So let's just say, for example, I'm doing heavy front squats on a Monday with some accessory lifts. And then I have some power output at the end with some very short, what I call anabolic sprints. So I've got my strength work and I've got my power work. So a fairly high, what we call CNS day, high central nervous system activation. I'm focusing on building strength. I'm trying to get as strong as I possibly can on a Monday. And I'm including big, like I said, big multi-joint compound lifts that are going to improve my overall strength as well as my central nervous system activation. Mm-hmm. And as I said, my kind of power output at the end. So I'm covering strength and power on that day. Of course, there are warm-ups, structural warm-ups. There's an aerobic warm-up at the beginning. But I'm saying to myself that the main meat and potatoes of my work on this day is going to be strength and power. So that'll be my Monday. Now, that's a lower body strength day on a Monday, let's say. And then on a Tuesday, I go into an upper body hypertrophy day. So as most of you guys know, there's a big difference between strength and hypertrophy. If I want to allow my muscles to grow, there's kind of a specific rep range and a specific intensity that I want to be working in on those days. And that's what I'm going to do on a Tuesday. So it's going to be some upper body hypertrophy circuits where, again, I'm going to come in. I have a warm-up. I have some structural stuff to do. And then I've got some hypertrophy-based circuits for the upper body on a Tuesday. So it's going to feel like a different stimulus than the Monday. I would say less of a central nervous system fatigue day, more of a kind of strength endurance, lactic acid, muscle building day, which I kind of look forward to on a Tuesday after the stress of a Monday. But it gives you a nice balance in there. So far I've got Monday strength, Tuesday hypertrophy, and then on the Wednesday, I move in what I call like an endurance / mindset day. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, firstly, if I'm working endurance, I've got obviously conditioning endurance, so it's going to be a longer cardiovascular effort. Mm-hmm. But I can also think about strength endurance, lifting something for a long period of time in a higher rep range. And I can also think about mental endurance. So Wednesday is more of what I call like a challenge day, where I'm really asking myself the big questions. Like, what can you endure? I'm putting myself in a really uncomfortable position. Often I'm not sure whether I can finish. Often I don't want to finish. And I have to kind of like push through beyond the limitations that my mind might be tempted to fall into. And I include these days because I think once or twice a week, it's really important to get these workouts in, to ask yourself the big questions, because these are the kind of workouts that really push you to the next level, that ask the big questions of yourself as a human being, as well as an athlete. And these are the kind of workouts that really build character, really build integrity, and really force you to dig deep and ask the big questions of yourself. These are the kind of workouts that we do in here to make you stronger out there. So I always like to include these kinds of workouts because they have extreme value, not just in the gym, but also outside the gym. So that will be the Wednesday. I've been experimenting with all of these workouts for the past few weeks, and Wednesdays have been certainly the hardest, probably the least enjoyable, but ultimately you kind of give you the biggest feeling of kind of satisfaction at the end of it once you've recovered, should we say. But so that will be the Wednesday. Thursday, we have what we call a rest or recovery day. Now, some people will do better with a complete rest. Certainly kind of more novice lifters or people with less training experience might do better with a full rest day on a Thursday. Other people might do better with a recovery session. Now, a recovery session would just be 60 minutes of light aerobic work. So I might just jump on a bike for 60 minutes. I might go on the Stairmaster for 60 minutes. I might go for a hike for 60 minutes. I might ride my bike outside for 60 minutes. I might go for a jog for 60 minutes. Just light recovery work. I might go for a swim if you're in a place where you can swim. Just something to get the blood flowing, allow the muscles to recover, allow your central nervous system to recover. This should not be a hard day. This should be, a recovery day. But I'm gonna let my body repair. I'm gonna let it rest. I'm gonna prepare myself for tomorrow, for the next day, because I know I'm gonna have to step things up the day after. So this is the day when you give yourself a bit of self-care, a bit of self-love, and really pay attention to your recovery and your repair protocols. Then I come back the next day on the Friday with a lower body hypertrophy day. So I've already done my lower body strength down on Monday, and now on a Thursday I'm going to focus more on hypertrophy. So I'm back to my kind of medium rep ranges, my hypertrophy rep ranges. So kind of that 8 to 20 kind of rep ranges actually on this program. So are
there any specific exercises for those days that you're going to be hitting on, or
there's certainly more isolation work on the hypertrophy day. Like I said, on the Monday when we do the strength work, we tend to focus more on the big compound lifts. On the hypertrophy day, we certainly focus more, not to say there aren't compound lifts, because there are, but we add a lot more isolation type work, trying to isolate the muscle, build the weak muscles, build the weaker muscles, and like I said before, induce hypertrophy through very specific rep ranges on very specific exercises. Sometimes when we do our big compound lift, like our squats and our deadlifts, we will favor certain muscle groups, like you've heard of, like quad dominant squatters, for example. Sometimes you need to add in some isolation work to build up the other muscles around the dominant muscle, or improve weaknesses or improve structural balance, kind of thing. So it's designed to really, like I said, work the muscles that may get ignored when you do your compound lift, or just underdeveloped muscles. Like I said, there is a difference between strength and hypertrophy, so we're trying to find that kind of sweet spot between both, in a way that doesn't, in a way that makes sense, that fits into the course of the week and the cycle. It doesn't like overtrain you, or it doesn't like overwork a single muscle. It has balance, it has structure, and like I said, it allows you to get the best of both worlds, which is of course the goal here. The next day then, after the lower body hypertrophy, is the upper body strength and power day. So very similar to the Monday with the lower body strength. Here I'm going to work my big compound upper body lifts, so my heavy bench, that kind of thing. Also some structural support work and some power work in there again at the end. So more explosive work, more sprint type work, stuff that's going to be high central nervous system demand. And give me that kind of, again, that sensation of strength, of feeling powerful, of feeling strong, and long-term increasing our 1 rep maxes, or, the ability that we have to move big objects quickly is the goal. Be strong and be explosive. And then followed by, again, we have a rest or a recovery day on the Sunday. There will be an option in the program to do our arms race program, which is as you know, just biceps and triceps.
Always advised.
Yeah, on a Sunday. Again, low central nervous system demand, meant to be, just a bit of fun on a Sunday. Let the body recover. By all means, take a complete rest or go for a hike, whatever it is. Or if you're if you're particularly concerned about your biceps and triceps, like a lot of us are, then throw that in there. But the most important thing is obviously that you don't fatigue yourself on a Sunday, because Monday's coming around very fast. So, as you look at that week and you realize, the density of it, obviously repair, recovery protocols do become a huge factor. So, Epsom salt baths, lots of mobility work, ice baths if you can get them, plenty of sleep. Go to bed at 9 o'clock. That's always my advice. If you can, the more sleep you can get, the better. I'll talk about nutrition and hydration in a second. But these sessions really take 75 minutes to 90 minutes. So an important thing to kind of cover before you decide to undertake this program is you need to give yourself 75 to 90 minutes, because there's a lot in this program. Like I said, with the warm-ups, there is, a kind of aerobic warm-up at the start of all these days. The purpose of which is to, burn some extra fat and build that aerobic capacity somewhat. But really, beyond just the fat oxidation, it allows us to prepare mentally for the work ahead. So I find for myself, over the years, like 5-minute warm-up doesn't really get me like where I need to be. 10-minute can have value, but I found like a solid 20-minute like steady state cardiovascular effort, get a sweat on, get the body warm, really helps get my mind where it needs to be to have a successful session.
Even throwing like an EMOM together for a 20-minute warm-up with different exercises in there to get you
right.
going.
Yeah. This really helps me like mentally get in the place that I need to be in to have a successful workout. Now, there might be people out there that are saying, well, can I cut that to 10 minutes? Yes, you can. Of course you can. But just know that there is obviously less of an effect happening over 10 minutes than there is over 20 minutes. So, it is in there for a very specific reason. We are trying to do all of these things. Like I said before, we're trying to build that aerobic base. We're trying to mentally prepare ourselves. We're trying to oxidize some fat and get us where we need to be to have the most successful program possible. So I would advise that you kind of, if you can, follow the program as written. Now, as I just mentioned, hydration is going to be key on this program, as is nutrition, of course. I kind of advise most of my guys to take up the gallon challenge. Mm-hmm. I should have my gallon jug here. I don't have it. I just have my Friday thing. But so I have a gallon challenge jug that I use that helps me make sure I drink a gallon of water a day. You'll be amazed the difference it makes when you feel hydrated. Dehydration is one of the biggest factors when it comes to underperforming or just feeling generally tired or not wanting to train. So I would advise everybody to hydrate and try and get that gallon down. Sip it through the day. It shouldn't be like trying to consume a gallon in an hour.
Don't do that. Don't do it.
Or the worst thing is trying to consume half a gallon before you go to bed. That's the worst thing. So slip it slowly throughout the day and try and get that gallon down. Now, when it comes to nutrition, of course, we like a relatively high protein diet. I like those protein sources to come from real food, not chemically engineered food. So I like my lean steak. I like my lean meats, my chicken, my fish, my some dairy, some cottage cheese, that kind of thing. But honestly, a lot of my protein comes from bison, beef, elk, that kind of thing.
No protein shakes, or
I do have protein shakes, just because my numbers are so high that
you have to supplement somehow. Yeah.
But the majority of your protein and the majority of your nutrition in general should come from real food sources. Protein shakes are a convenience.
Yeah.
And, like I said, if your numbers are high, then it's something you will likely have to do. But as much as you can, try and get that real food down. Medium carbs, medium fats. What do I mean by that? Well, it really depends on the person and how best they respond to these two macronutrients. Obviously, in this program, especially on your kind of performance days, when you have, like, let's say the Wednesday, when you have that kind of high endurance workout, or when you have those high central nervous system workouts, some glycogen is going to be necessary. Otherwise, you'll just quite simply underperform. So when I design nutrition for people, it always starts with the protein. Standard is 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Again, kind of depending on the person. And then I'll build the carbs and fats, on the back of that to get us the calories we need, divided between the carbs and the fats, depending on what the person's really looking for and how well I think they're going to respond to these different macronutrients. So just know that you need both for this program in different degrees. For guys, they might be having anywhere between 70 and 100 grams of fat a day. Girls might be anywhere between 40 and 80, broadly speaking. But obviously these are huge variations, and that can change from person to person. And then the rest of the calories will be made up with and then carbs and fats kind of get divided through the remainder of the calories. And of course, as if you've listened to this podcast before, or if you've ever done like any nutrition at Pharos, we find it most effective to have those carbohydrates around your training schedule. So in the meal before and the meal after training, that's when we fuel and that's when we replenish. We find that to be very effective. And then I prefer the fats to come kind of like later in the day, kind of like the meals furthest away from your training.
And what's the reason for that one?
So that it doesn't interfere with your protein synthesis. Like if you have fats and proteins together, it can slow down the protein synthesis.
Yeah.
So
protein and carbs together, better synthesis.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then protein and fats in the evening. Fats are great, obviously, for your hormonal health, as well as energy. But in order to keep our hormones healthy, obviously, for a lot of guys, testosterone is key, and fats help with testosterone. So especially if we're not like supplementing with testosterone. So
our hormone system's replenished in the evening too when we're sleeping. So
correct.
I think you're right. That's actually a better thing to get your fats, before bed,
right,
or in that evening meal.
Right. Yeah, I find that to be very effective. So yeah, the nutrition and hydration are going to be key, because if you're not on point with it, A, you won't get the results you want. B, you'll feel tired all the time. And so you'll just get frustrated. It's like, well, I put in all this work and I'm not getting the results I want. More times than not, it always comes down to nutrition and hydration. Like I've seen it a bunch of times. So it's very important that when you do a program like this, you pay attention to those details. It's not just about getting in the gym and doing the work. That's obviously part of it. But really, the magic happens with the food, with the hydration, and with the sleep. Like you have to stay on top of those things to complement your workouts, because you cannot have one without the other if you want to get the results that you're looking for. So there has to be that balance.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I don't know how I did in my younger age. The party all night, play basketball the next day, or this and that. Like now, if I don't get just like 6, I'm just depleted the next day.
Yeah, especially like at the age of man. I mean, I've always been bad with low hours of sleep, but now if I do not get 6 hours, or it's hard with the kid and stuff. Sometimes Wyatt will wake up in the night and I'll be up, and then I get up at 5. So it's like the days when I don't get 6 hours, I feel like death. Like it's really bad for me. I can get through it, like, and I'll caffeine my way the fuck through the day, yes. But it's bad. It's bad. So sleep is one of the biggest things. When I have a client, like one of the first questions I'll ask them is, how much sleep do you get? Because you can't expect to get through a successful program without good sleep. It just does not work. So sleep is always key. So the next kind of point I wanted to